Hey friends, this is Ruchi, and today we're going to talk about one of the most difficult aspects of being diagnosed with limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, and that is falling or losing balance. Now, because this is a muscle degeneration disorder where your muscles keep on getting weaker, one thing which is very scary for every patient with muscular dystrophy is falling or losing balance. And there can be multiple aspects of how a person feels emotionally, physically after falling that we're going to talk about. So the first thing is that if you are at that stage where it's not visible that you have any disorder, maybe your walk is a little difficult, you are shifting your weight from one leg to the other. Sometimes you will not know what exactly is happening to you, and that's what something happened to with me also. I mean, even before the diagnosis, I had fallen down on a vacation, on a family vacation, and unfortunately nobody knew why I was struggling so much to get up. The people around me were laughing, and it was a very awkward moment for me. But at that point of time, of course, I did not know what was happening, so I just got up and continued walking. Well, after the diagnosis, things changed a lot. When I saw one of my family members who had LGMD and the person fell down, I realized that how fragile the state can be, because the person broke his thigh bone from 3 places. So one thing which I realized on that day is that when your muscles are weak, your body weight kind of relies on your bone mass. And if your bone structure is not strong enough, then there's a high probability that you can, fracture your bones also. Then this fear of just falling and being awkward in front of people went to another level for me. I was even more scared. But I'm not here to scare you. I'll tell you that I have fallen multiple times, and I have not broken my bones ever. I have paid attention towards my bone health as well. So that is one thing that you have to constantly do. Now, initially when I started tripping, I started losing balance. I was still able to get up with a lot of difficulty, but I was able to get up. I would still feel very shy, very awkward, but there was no physical impact. Of course, there was a lot of mental impact, that I was afraid of going out. I was afraid of moving on surfaces which were uneven. So that was the mental impact. It was like that deep-rooted fear of falling down. Then my dystrophy worsened, the muscles worsened, weakened, and with that came the second most difficult part of feeling the pain throughout your body, or feeling that fear throughout your body. So I remember there was an instance where I was boarding a bus, and at that point of time I was not using a walking stick, so people did not know that they had to open a ramp for me, which was there in the bus. And you know how it is with the ramps, they're not even used, so what's the point? Well, I was trying to board the bus and I fell down. My son was there, but of course he was too young to pick me up, so strangers came and picked me up. And at that point of time, I felt there was a pain which was running across my spine, and my body was trembling from inside, and I had the deep-rooted fear which just sprung up, and I was very scared again. I did not have that much of a physical impact that I could not keep moving. I kept moving. After a few years, when I fell down inside my home in the bathroom, it took me 7 days to get over from that pain, because my muscle got twisted, my leg muscles were sore for 7 days. I had to use pain relievers, and it was a very bad experience. I still continue to work from my office from home, but I realized that pain is another factor that I have to deal with. After that day, I think, falling was just out of the question. I just could not manage to fall. And I was taking all the precautions to not to fall. When it comes to adaptations, I ensure that I walk very slowly inside the house. If I'm going for short walks, then I use a walking stick. And if I'm going for longer distances, then I'm using a wheelchair. But even after making use of all those adaptations and ensuring that I walk slowly, there's still a possibility that you can fall. And that's exactly what happened to me. So one day I just slept inside the house and I fell while I was alone in the house. Nobody was there to help me get up. And I called my mother. She was outside shopping. She came in and she called my son. My son was already 18 years old at that point of time. So he, helped me get up. He picked me up from the floor and he made me lie down on the bed. But because I was taking acupressure therapy all these years, my muscles were more flexible and I was able to get over the pain in 3 to 4 days. And that was the time when I started thinking, should I be constantly afraid of falling whenever I'm stepping outside the home? I mean, where does it really take me? How does it help me from being in that constant fear? So one thing which I realized after that day is that there's no point of being afraid all the time. If I fall down, somebody will either pick me up or I will be helped by somebody eventually. I will not keep lying down on the floor, right? So why am I so afraid? And this taught me a big lesson in life, that it's okay to fall. It's completely okay to fall. We all fall in our lives, right? Not physically. Sometimes we fall because of our poor decisions, right? Because of the challenges that we face. And just like in life, you overcome all the challenges. Just like that, in limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, you get up with somebody's help, of course. And I'm not even afraid to ask for people's help because I know that I need help. So it's okay to fall. And I know that if I can overcome this fear or a kind of a phobia that I had for falling, if I can do this, I'm sure you can do this too.